Thank you so much for stopping by. Now, in case you're joining, this is your first time, my name is Miriam. I'm a Kenyan journalist and also I'm a student of international relations, but that is not exactly why I set up this platform. Of course, that has to do with the inspiration, for me to set up this platform, but that is not what I talk about so much here. And so years ago, many years ago, I was introduced to the idea of a vision board. At that time I was very young, probably in my late teens, and I wasn't very clear about what that was about, but I did understand the concept. And then I decided to make one for myself. And I think at that time a lot of things were not going on very well in my life, and being a person who is such a dreamer and has great visions and great ideas, and the place that I was at that time was not really reflecting what I want to do or where I want to go. And so this vision board became my saving grace. I could look at it and I would feel hope, because sometimes God can give you these great ideas and this great vision, and when you sleep at night you can see it. You can see it coming to reality. You can see it. You can. It's almost tangible in your spirit and in your mind. And then you wake up in the morning and the reality is different, and that can be the most frustrating thing. But anyway, I'm glad I made this vision board for myself many years ago. And now I was just thinking about it the other day and just going through it, and I discovered that all of the things that I had indicated in that vision board, some of them I have achieved, some of them have become a reality. In fact, a good number of them have become a reality. So there is power. Sometimes when you have all these wonderful ideas and dreams and aspirations, God has deposited these things in you. So it is up to you to have faith and to believe that it is possible. And then outside of just having faith and believing and hoping and wishing, you start working towards that dream. I've said here, one of the things that I had in that vision board to be in journalism, because that is something I had identified earlier on. And so I think I did cut the photo of Oprah Winfrey. She's one of my inspirations, and I put it in that vision board. Okay, of course I'm not even halfway or Oprah, not even a quarter way, not even just a very small teeny tiny fraction of who she is. Okay, but she became a point of inspiration for me. All right, so I'm okay. 14 years later, have experience in journalism. And then so once I put that, and I strongly believe that is what I was called to do, and really that is what I wanted to do for a career. And despite at that time me having the abilities or the capabilities in terms of whatever was required for me to get into the media school, I started working. I started looking for opportunities. I started knocking on doors. I started volunteering to get the knowledge, to get the skill and all these things. And I believed, and I started working towards me becoming a journalist until I actually got employed. And I got, before my employment, we were trained and then employed later. And then of course later on I went to journalism school. So it is that vision board that I made many years ago that became sort of a guiding, kept me focused on the things that I wanted to achieve. And of course many other things that I've been able to achieve in my life, and others that I'm still working to achieve to the point where I feel I really can get. I'm still working on it. Even in my journalism career, I'm not there yet. 14 years later, I still feel like I'm just started, because the more you learn, the more you discover there's so much to learn out there. So I'm still a work in progress in that. So I'm just saying, all of those ideas that God has put in your heart and you feel so strongly about, it is not a mistake that you sleep at night or you're up at night having all these crazy ideas all these dreams, all these possibilities you imagine can happen, let me tell you something. It is not a dream, and there's nothing like impossibility. If you take a hold of these dreams and you have faith that you can do it, indeed, it can become a reality for you. All right? God has deposited these things in our heart. So it's up to you to have faith that you can do it, and to just get a hold of that and believe strongly that is what you want to do. So you're not crazy to have all these ideas, not crazy to keep thinking about this one idea all the time, or to be drawn to something that, you know, where you are right now, it appears to be far-fetched, but you feel so strongly about it. You're not crazy. You're not crazy. These are things that God would want you to accomplish. These are things that if you worked hard and if you believed, and sometimes you don't have the whole picture, you just have the end of that. You can see where you're going, you can imagine it in your heart and in your spirit, and sometimes you see it very, like for me, I see it very clearly. So many things that are not a reality right now for my life, but some of the dreams that I still have and I'm working towards, I close my eyes and I see it. I see it in detail, let me tell you. Okay? And so sometimes all you have is the end imagination of what that can look like. And where you are is very far, it's quite distant from that to be even a reality. But what you have, as long as you have that faith, all you have to do is just take the next step. Take the next small step, okay? By faith. I told you by the time I was applying to go to college, I did not have the money, and at that time I was out of work. So I did not have a job to fund that dream. But I had strongly believed after 9 years having worked in the media that it was the time for me to go and get a proper journalism education, okay? And so one day I'm seated in my house, going through the schools and all that, and I send them an email, and they respond back, they give me the fee structure and all these things. I go visit the institution, I like it and all these things. All that time I don't have money, and then in the process of all these things, I get a phone call, I get an interview, I go there, I'm interviewed, and I get the job. You know, just about 3 weeks before I started school, all right? And all this time I was just doing things by faith. So sometimes just take that small step of faith and believe, just the small steps. And sometimes, you know, we are very fearful, and fear is something that can really cripple you, and to an extent that it can absolutely sabotage your future and your dreams if you're not very careful. Because when you look at the things that you don't have, you will realize it's a whole list of things that can disqualify you absolutely from some of these opportunities or some of these things that you are pursuing. But you're not walking by sight. I'm a faith person. For me, I've had to learn faith in a more tangible way and take those steps even when it does not make sense to me. Sometimes I even question myself, am I even okay to have this level of belief and faith? But that is what God requires of us. Just the small steps. Do your part and let God do his. If you do your part and you're faithful in those small ways, God will always he will make a way. He always does. Not at our time, at his time, but he does always make a way when he sees the effort that you're putting and the yearning that you have, and you know, and the commitment that you have. He loves us, so he will make it happen. So what I'm saying is, don't be scared over what you don't have in order to achieve what you want to achieve. Whatever it is that you have, use that. You're gifted, you have the talent, you can do it. use that ability that you have in you, and then do the small things that you can do where you are today, and see how God would use that and that faith to propel you to where you're supposed to go. So don't stop dreaming. You are not crazy having all these wonderful, lofty dreams. You're not crazy. Hold on to that and have faith that it is possible, because it's really possible. And having a big vision board, making your dream, writing it on paper, when the Bible says make the dream clear, write it on paper. It's very important. I did it many years ago, and when I went back to look at it the other day, I was like, wow, this is amazing, because I'm living in some of those dreams today, and and others are about to come true. You know, so I'm sitting here telling you that it is possible, because, you know, for me, it all of my life has been about the grace of God, really. And so that's all I know, and that's what has carried me. And so even for you, just be encouraged. I know there's so many things that can discourage you, but just have the faith and the belief that all things will work together for your own good. And trust that whoever who put those things in you, those dreams in you, is faithful to make them happen. So it's up to you to believe, and it's up to you to keep holding on, and it's up to you to take the little steps of faith and see what God can do moving forward. So just be encouraged and don't give up.